As you can hear the birds singing in the background, it's springtime of the year. And I was just out in the boat tonight playing with tackle. It's one of my favorite things to do, just get in the boat, do some map study, play with rod and reel and tackle, and just thinking about, the springtime. It's the time of year where the nights are, not getting out of the 50s, so and the trees are blooming out, getting green, and that means one thing: the fish are going to the bank. And I've had some questions over the years of what's my favorite thing to do and fish with in the springtime, and it's very easy to say, like, I like to get on the bank and flip or pitch or throw a buzz bait or spinner bait, but I really thinking about it, I've got over the last few years where I do quite a bit of finesse fishing in the spawn time of the year. And one of my favorite things to do is throw a wacky rig. Those big females are getting around docks, laydowns, rocks, whatever, getting ready to spawn, and some of them are actually already pulled up on beds, and that wacky rig really just entices the bite. And you can throw any kind of just stick bait. That's just the Yamamoto Senko bait, really soft bait. I do put the O-ring on there, but one of the keys to that setup is this Trokar TK97 wacky rig, weedless wacky rig hook. It's just one of my favorite hooks to throw a wacky rig on. I mean, the angle of it, you have a really good hookup ratio on it, and they stay pinned once you hook them up. So when I'm throwing the wacky rig, I really that setup, that TK97 weedless wacky, helps me get in tight places, don't get hung up, and when a fish does bite, it helps me land those fish. What I like to throw that on is a spinning rod, and this is a Levante Megabass Levante shaky head rod. It's got a 10-pound cigar braid with a 10-pound cigar and VizX leader on it. That leader, depending on the watercolor, I'll use an 8 to even a 12-pound leader, just depending on what size fish I'm dealing with, and the color of the water too. But that's kind of just the basic setup I use for that wacky rig. And another setup that really works well in the spring too. Sometimes you don't get as good a hookup with that with this as you do, but it'll show you where a lot of fish will roll up on this bait, and that's just the old-fashioned Zoom pink trick worm. And I throw that on a Trokar TK100 4/0 worm hook, and I just do a basic setup, just Texas rig, go in the worm, come out. And the only thing I do a little bit different to help impart a little bit more action in that trick worm is when I go through the worm, I just put just a little bit of a hump in that worm. If you can see that little bit of hump right there, it just gives that bait a little more action. And that hook, when they do get the bait, it hooks them up, and I throw that basically on the same thing as I do the wacky rig. That shaky head, Levante shaky head rod with 10 or 12-pound braid, and anywhere from an 8 to 12-pound fluorocarbon cigar and VizX fluorocarbon leader. So that's two ways I like to fish in the springtime. As I thought about that, that's two techniques I felt myself leaning on more and more in the springtime of the year. And I do like to pitch and flip and throw a buzz bait, power fish a little more, but that's like I said, that's two techniques that I really have found myself leaning on. So, if you get out there on the lake and find yourself struggling, try these two techniques and see how they work for you.